Just a few words about the subject and about this form of training, because there are basically two forms of ultrasound training out there now. There's a lot of, vendor-driven training, which is primarily about, how you use the particular device that you've purchased, and that'll cover some theory and whatnot. And then there's training that follows the standard. Our goal is to make that training as understandable as possible, to recognize that not everyone walks into a course already understanding the theory of ultrasound, the measurements, the types of equipment that will be tested, the failure modes of that equipment, and the actual ways the data will change as the equipment starts to fail, or when detecting leaks. And ultrasound's quite versatile, so there's quite a bit to understand. So we try to make it understandable. We try to make it interesting. We try to make it as practical as possible. So, even if it sounds a bit theoretical at times, we're always trying to relate it back to the practical topics, and of course, compliant with the standards at IN 436 Part 8 in this particular case. The other point I'd like to make, particularly in the case of ultrasound, is it's very easy to get enough training so that you think, okay, I know how to use the device. I can go out and take measurements, I can listen, I can record, but we would rather help people really master the topic and really understand what it's all about, rather than just trying to remember what an instructor told you. And of course, it has to be compliant with the standard as well. But so some of the theory, I'm deliberately covering a little bit of the theory at the beginning, and you might think, oh, why do I need to know that? Well, we always believe if you understand, there are a huge number of benefits. In particular, when you're trying to solve problems, something seems unusual, you're hearing or seeing something that's not quite right, and if all you've got is just some memory of what an instructor told you once, or what you read in a book or something, you're trying to remember and it doesn't make sense. But when the measurements make sense, and the machines make sense, and the failure modes make sense, and the ultrasound itself makes sense, then you can solve any problems. And one of the challenges with Category 1 ultrasound is, people are kind of on the front line. You can, with vibration, for example, just go out and collect the measurements and someone else do the analysis. With ultrasound, there is much more reliance on the person who is collecting the data. So, we don't want to send people out to just listen for trouble, and just be able to, hear what's going on. It is a very important role, and so we're hoping we can provide the training that allows people to be successful in that role. You set the technician up for success. They deserve to be qualified for the role they perform. They should be respected for what they understand, and they should be able to take pride in their role and for the achievements in being able to perform these tests and analysis and so on.